It is 9:31. I apologize for the delay. I'm going to go ahead and open the study session for Tuesday, December 12th. Madam Clerk, if you do the roll call for us, please.
Yes. Director Arthur Perry.
Here.
Assistant Secretary Robert Uten.
Here.
Secretary Arlene Schaefer. Present. Vice President James Ferriman.
Present.
And President Michael Schaefer.
Here. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Folks who would like to speak on items not on our agenda are welcome to do so. Mr. Mosier, I see you've indicated a desire.
Yes. Thank you, President Schaefer and members of the board. My name is Jim Mosier, and I had a non-agenda comment, which is actually about the agenda. I think it's been about a year now that the board has adopted using the Board Docs online agenda system, which of online agenda systems is an excellent one. Works very well for those who have access to a device online to be able to do it, which I'm not sure the audience has. The comment I wanted to make is I at least am slightly missing the access to the old format agendas that we had that listed the topics and gave the brief summary under them of what the topics to be discussed were about and had the required Brown Act boilerplate on them. I'm not sure if Board Docs is not totally oriented towards local government in California, but I think the board is supposed to be supplying an agenda publicly accessible and posted in that old, easy-to-read format that is more complete than this one is. Thank you.
Did we have that take a look at that and make sure? I thought we had talked about that before, and it is accessible, I believe, on the website. But let's just get a clarification so that the public knows. Okay. Anybody else from the public? Seeing no one else, I'll close public comments. I'm derelict to my duty. I do have one other item before we go to ceremonial matters. John Harper is with us this morning. Alan Burns, our regular counsel, couldn't be with us, so they sent the good-looking member of the Harper Burns law firm to be with us this morning. So, John, this may be the first time you've been at one of our meetings, at least since I've been on the board. Yeah. So.
I've been to meetings before.
Yes.
Okay.
Back in the old days and back in the old place.
Back in the closet. So, thank you for joining us, John. Glad to have you with us. Okay, ceremonial matters. We have one. You're doing that now? Yeah. We have a proclamation to present to the Costa Mesa Historical Society. Our general manager is shaking. Okay. This is the fun stuff. I think all five of us agree. We love doing this stuff. And we have two of the most wonderful people in Costa Mesa with us this morning to receive this. There is no Costa Mesa Historical Society without the Goddards. And so if you two would join me up here in front of the screen.
Do we have a camera? Is there a camera at all?
Thank you both for being with us. Again, this is the fun stuff about being elected official, is recognizing people who are so integrated in the community and are so important to this community. And you do okay. She does a wonderful job. You're a smart man. The Goddards are important not just to the Historical Society, but to the library. And that construction that you see going down at Lions Park is driven right here. And we are so grateful to both of you and to the Historical Society for all the work, not just with the sanitary district, but the city overall. And I'll put in a little plug for the Fish Fry and the Lions Club. You guys do such a wonderful job. So on behalf of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District, we would like to congratulate the Costa Mesa Historical Society and ask you to accept this proclamation on behalf of the society and with our utmost gratitude. So thank you very so much. Thanks. This really is the most between two farms.
1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Did you want to say something, Bob?
No, you might mention what it was for, the art wraps.
The what?
Our wraps. Yeah, right. I was
Oh.
going to mention that too.
The director forgot. This is in recognition of the art wrap program that we have on our pump stations. Not just the fact that you're nice people. But your help in getting those photographs that we put on the pump stations was invaluable. So thank you both. And thanks for the short second.
Well, I remember when we get Dennis Holland to dust off his 1909 Buick and drive it to Irvine Avenue and park beside the utility box that has that car on it.
Yeah.
Back when the Ellis brothers owned it and raced it, you've got some really strong community outreach when that happens. And,
Yeah.
the money can't buy that stuff. It's a great program. And so it's been a pleasure working with Gina Geronio, a pleasure working with Frank Gutierrez over at Mesa Art and Training. We shouldn't forget those guys. They take our images and add some color and make the wrap and install the wrap. So it's a great outreach program. And then just this parting thought. If you have more utility boxes, we have more images. It's a good thing to do more of,
Yeah, there's one actually on the corner of Alaska and California we ought to probably look at, but I'm just saying.
Okay, just saying. I'm sure Gina will contact us.
I know the resident there.
Okay, thank you very
Hey,
much.
thank you, Art.
Thank you both.
Back to the society, thank you all very much.
Thank you for what you're doing. Okay, we're going to go to items of study. And Scott, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Bill Nelson, who I have the pleasure of working with on the Network for Homeless Solution Committee. As you know, I've only been serving on that committee for about a year, and since been serving on that committee, I think I mentioned this before, I'm just in awe of what they do in this community and helping the homeless. Their commitment, their passion, and their dedication to helping people is just it's unbelievable what they do. As you know, the homeless population in Costa Mesa has decreased from 153 to 103, and that is due to this committee. I believe this board wanted to hear some more what this community does, and so I've invited Mr. Nelson. He's graciously agreed to be here today and explain to the board what this great committee does.
Thanks, Scott.
Nelson, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the board for allowing me to come up and talk a little bit about what we do at NHS. We're comprised, basically, we're all from Costa Mesa, and we all live in Costa Mesa. We're comprised of different government agencies, private nonprofits, as well as religious-based organizations as well. There's about 30 of us that make up the Network for Homeless Solutions, which makes for a lot of fun discussion from every kind of viewpoint you can imagine regarding people experiencing homelessness. And what we do is we look at every single issue, whether it be the issues of them camping at the parks, sleeping in their cars on the streets, and where you are concerned, the defecating and everything else on people's lawns in the communities and stuff, which is of very high importance and priority for us. As Scott said, yes, we have reduced in the last year 50 of our Costa Mesa homeless. If you look at our tenure from what we've done since 2014, you're looking at about 222 people that we've been able to get housing and get off the streets through reconnections to families around the country, different fallouts from recovery programs and things like that. So we address just about everything regarding people experiencing homelessness. And one of the things that I understand that the city has been considering is the use of a public bathroom system that's on a trailer that's mobile and that can be monitored with the monitoring things. I just want to tell you that in the cities that I know of that are using this system, it's been overwhelmingly successful in accomplishing things, especially granting privacy to residents. That's the biggest impact that it will make. Is businesses will notice a reduction in messes in front of their stores, and especially like Harbor Center, the 99-cent store, places like that. And also, but it makes a big difference in the community. Please understand, I started working with people experiencing homelessness in Los Angeles County in 1978. I started when I was 4. No, I'm kidding. I just thought I'd throw it out there. Yeah, that's right. So, but noticing what I have over the years. I train a lot of mentors in how to deal with homeless. We do a lot of different things at the Network for Homeless Solutions. We basically band together as a team to address this problem in all areas. And please know that as amazing as Costa Mesa is in what we do for the homeless, we are not being an attractant. That is the one thing I can tell you over 10 years of watching stats, that nothing you will do in the area of trying to make a difference in the lives of the homeless people, as well as the community and the businesses, you're not going to attract any more than are already here. Pretty much they stay to where they were raised, located, had their fallout, whatever, for whatever reason, they're on the streets, and Scott doesn't want me to get into preaching on that because we'd be here all day. So, but the biggest deal is that please know that any good thing that you do to get the dignity to these people, we have a group of people that watch what you do, watch what the city council does, watch what our police department, we work with the fire department, the police department as well, and they know us, and we make sure that if we are going to do something to assist them, it is always with the purpose of getting to know them better and getting them off the streets. We basically want people to remember who they were before they became who they are. That's the biggest deal. Once we find out where they're gathering, if they are gathering at if we get a mobile trailer restroom system going and stuff, there will always be members of our team. They're waiting for people that are going to use them and then trying to get to know them a little bit to find out how we can help them. Whether it's reconnecting them to family across the country, whether it's trying to find housing for them. If it's a vet, we can get them off the streets in 48 hours. If it's just people that have fallen out from drug and recovery programs, we're going to find out how to help them the best way we can. If they are service resistant, then there is consequences to those actions as well. So just so you know, the Network for Homeless Solutions does not just give out things and then walk away. That doesn't help anybody. Our purpose is to simply get to know them a little bit, just enough to make sure we understand what they truly need, supply what they need, not what they want, and then help them to get better for today and make tomorrow better than today. So that's basically what we do. If you have questions, please, I would love to, if it's okay with you, Mr. President, to say I'd love for anybody that need one to ask a question, please do.
You definitely do. You know, Bill, you said something that I've never thought about, and it's kind of revealing to me. Homeless tend to be where they're from.
Oh, yes, sir.
I mean, you normally hear of, well, you know, I spend a lot of time in the desert communities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of homeless people there, and we
Yes.
always, especially in the community I'm in, and you tend to think of people, well, they're going to come out here because the weather's so much better. But that's not the case.
Small percentage, yes. A small percentage, yes. Like maybe 2 or 3%. But the rest have been raised in Southern Orange County. Probably, I don't know. Let's see, of the 40, my organization is also Fresh Beginnings Ministries. I'm the director of. We've housed a little over 60 people this year, and of those 60, I would say 8 were from outside of even Orange County, much less out of the state. So yeah, that really is the big deal. It's where they're raised, because they're not going to go where they're not familiar. I mean, even if they failed and stuff like that, if they've been doing drugs a long time in Orange County, they're going to stay in Orange County. Now, the problem that we do have, I'll be frank with you, is that there are other states who are advertising, if you want to get recovery, go to Costa Mesa. As most of you have heard many times, we have the most recovery homes of any other state, much less any other city in the United States. We have the highest number of recovery homes here in Costa Mesa. So we work hard. We have a team of 8 people that monitor that alone, that go to find out. And when they get put out on the curb for insurance loss or whatever purpose, we make sure that we either, if they were from North Carolina, we've got 4 organizations that put bus tickets together, and we say, here's your ticket back home. We confirm with somebody in North Carolina they want to be there. They say yes, we put them on a bus and send them home.
I know, I'm going to give Charlie, but one other quick thing. I know Councilmember Foley is in Washington, D.C., I think as we speak.
Yes, that's correct,
Meeting with
today.
legislators back there on homeless solutions, is that correct?
Correct. There is a new forum that started out. They're beginning to, which would be why I'm so tired and doing a lot of this kind of thing around the county right now, is because although I've been trying for 30 years to get people to notice, I haven't had to really seek out places to speak anymore. Now they're looking for me because even the government is starting to recognize what's going on out there, and that we have to do, especially since the newest number was 553,000 people on the streets in the United States. That's 500,000. That's amazing to me.
I just wanted to share with you that I sit on CSDA's board up in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And what we have is a new program. We are able to reach out to over 1,000 members and talk to them of what concerns they have if we have a concern. So I have put on there already, and we should be getting an answer within 2 weeks, about the homeless and about porta potties and,
Yes.
and what the negative and the positive
Very
is
good.
on anyone who has that. So
Yeah.
we'll be
And
hearing
there
from
is
them.
Seattle, New Orleans, Phoenix. Look at all of those cities. They all have them. And they, Seattle will tell you, Paradise Park especially in Seattle, my daughter went to college there, so I got invited up there a lot to speak. And Paradise Park in Seattle was the biggest impact I've ever seen in doing it.
You know,
It's huge.
I sat in on a meeting with Director Ferryman, and it was dealing with Seattle coming down and
Yeah.
talking to us and showing us the pictures.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing what happened at Paradise Park. That was the biggest deal.
Good question, Jimmy.
Bill, you're aware that we're trying to hook up with the city and with the affordable bathrooms. One issue that we're anticipating is we have to have a staff person at the location to monitor what's
Correct.
going on.
Yes.
And possibly during the week, the city and the sanitary district can have their employees be scheduled for half a day or whatever it is.
Correct.
My question is, on the weekends is where we're going to have a problem. It's going to cost us a lot more money to fund that part of it. Would there be any chance that any organization that you're involved with would be able to assist us?
We actually, Scott brought that up at one of our NHS meetings, and I think there was 3 of us that said we would, if the city would take care of the week and do that, let us partner with the city in seeing how we can help take care of that on the weekends, because we know of that expenses. Just in appreciation because of you even considering this, I think that would be something we could bring to the table. And Scott, if we would at Thursday's meeting, if you would just remember, because my brain sometimes goes, I'm a little busy this time of year. So if you would bring that up on Thursday, we will let us look at that and see if we can't get some kind of a formal commitment. And then that way we could formalize a document and say, you know what, if the city considers this.
Let me emphasize the fact that the city has not.
Yeah, yes, I know.
They're in the process of evaluating it, so we're hopeful that.
Well, I would love for you to have a document saying, hey, look, we're going to partner with you in this. That may help a little bit too as well. That may be a good thing to have, so we can address that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Any other questions for Bill? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Well, hopefully we'll see you on a regular basis here.
Okay. If he has anything to do with it, yeah. Thanks.
We'll see what we can do. Thanks, Bill. Okay, code enforcement report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Officer Roberts is out on training right now, so I'll try to answer any of your questions. If I can't answer the questions, we'll bring it back to you next month. But in your attached report, Officer Roberts did approach 8 people that were scavenging, and as you know, he pretty much gives them a warning, and off they go. And then he also gave 101 first-time warning notices to people who are leaving their trash carts out in public view. So happy to answer any questions, and again, if I can't answer them, bring it back to you.
I don't know if we've asked this before. I may have forgotten, but There's a gas station I go to fill my car up with gas. A lot of times there's a person, it's always the same person, going through the trash cans at the gas station, which I think is pretty smart. I mean, if you're looking for recyclables, why wouldn't you go to a gas? Because people are, that's not we can't control that, right?
That's commercial side, yeah.
Okay.
I had a question on the trees. Are we going to have the same pickup? Do we have to coordinate it, or the city's taking care of it with C&R?
Christmas tree?
You talking about Christmas trees?
Christmas trees. I'm sorry. It would help
It's
if you
kind of-
said Christmas trees.
We can talk about that under organic.
Yeah, we can talk about that organics. I don't think that kind of relates to
I just was
this item,
curious.
sure.
Okay. All right, now let's move to item 3, organic tonnage report.
Okay, again, just available to answer any questions. So the question that Secretary Shaver has about coordinating the Christmas trees, yes, in fact, it's already on our website right now, the dates and when you can place the Christmas trees out, and we coordinate that with CR&R.
I think it's on the trucks already as well, right? Yeah, I last week when I see a truck with the Christmas tree on it.
Yeah, right after the Thanksgiving holiday, we put the banners up on the trucks.
Mike? No, last year we had a problem with the Christmas trees. People put them out too late.
Yeah, yes.
And how do we let the public know what's the deadline date? Should we have an article in the paper or something?
Yeah, we can do an article in the paper. Social media, our social media has been very effective. We can have the city help us out, get the word out too as well.
Because I remember it was a big deal last year.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can bring it up at the liaison meeting too, to be
We'd have to add that if you want to.
Well, we could do that.
Sure.
Or you could all get fake trees like my wife did. Okay, solid waste report.
Just happy to answer any questions.
Questions for staff on the solid waste diversion report?
Oh, no, I had a question. Scott, in the report, you make a reference to the pounds per capita diversion rate, but there's no data on that. And I believe that is, Mr. Ballier can correct me, or staff, that is the current means of measuring what the state has required agencies and cities to do by 2020. I think it's 75% removal, and they're measuring it based on pounds per capita. So the city is reporting pounds per capita, but I don't think there's any data in the staff report that there's tonnages and there's diversions. So I think we need more information. And I would also like to know, I guess, how the goal for the city is established. So pounds per capita, there was a benchmark sometime, and they have to get a 75% reduction, meet that number. I don't know what those numbers are. And I think it'd be interesting to do some more exploration and enhance the report. But
Sure. On item number 8 on your agenda, I think we're going to go in more discussion about that. That was a request you had to obtain the city data and kind of compare the.
Hopefully it's down there. Okay. Maybe I haven't read it correctly. Sorry. Just a FYI. Yes. I'm looking at number 8.
Got it.
Hey, one other thing. Scott, one other thing. Did we ever get a report from OCC?
What's that?
Did we get a report from OCC from their recycling that we use?
You want an annual report or the monthly?
No. Do we get a monthly report?
Yeah, but it's usually
I
didn't see it.
It's on the end of next to the right of CR&R every time.
Does that?
That's OCC.
I know. Does that include the 61.5%?
Yes.
That includes it.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it would be higher, but. Okay.
On that, I thought OCC was collecting some organics to do some. They're not collecting any organics at all at OCC.
I don't know. I'm not aware.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
No,
maybe
they don't.
We suggested that. They have a lot of room for
maybe
it.
that's what I'm thinking.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah, I think that's.
But they said they didn't have the right authorization to do it.
Well, they collect the oil for us. That's probably about the only thing, I think.
Yeah.
When you look at the organics on this diversion report, I mean, you guys know this better than we do. As the year gets later, as we get more into winter, it's going to go down because there's not as much stuff going in the cans. But I'm sure we'll get a big increase in cardboard in January, right? From all the Amazon. I know my wife's going to contribute a lot to the cardboard thing. So, okay. Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Didn't you hear that the city was going to raise the quota for commercial haulers to 65%?
Yeah,
I think we talked about that.
yeah, it was on the agenda at the city council meeting
Was it?
to raise, I'm not sure the exact wording of it.
For construction.
Yeah, for construction materials, the 65%.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Construction
well, that
materials?
helps our totals though,
Yeah.
for the state. Now, I'm assuming their goal will be next year to raise it to 70 and then the next year to 75. That's what I think that's going to happen, but.
It'll be interesting after next November when Governor Brown is removed from office by term limits to see if any of this stuff changes. I mean, do you guys think that, depending, I guess, on who gets elected governor, that rumor has it, a lot of the stuff that he's established, and he was on 60 Minutes the other night, Brown was talking about it, that whoever wins the governorship may change some of these thresholds.
You mean lower it possibly?
Well, I don't think it's a governor. I think the legislature did it and he signed it. So the legislature would have,
But he directed, I mean, he was the driving force.
yeah, and they did it, and now undoing it, I think, is
It's always hard to undo.
probably not probable.
All right, any other questions? Then we'll go to item B5.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, as you've probably been hearing in the press and social media, that the big one's going to be coming one day, and so they say it's a matter of when, not if, and so it's always good practice to have your local government be prepared for such emergencies, and so CMSD did a tabletop exercise of our Emergency Operations Center, which is here at NHQ. And the objective of the tabletop exercise was really to become familiar with the role of each position in the EOC, learn the importance of each section in the EOC and the importance of effective communications, identify missing forms, equipment, supplies, and other stuff that's needed during a disaster. The tabletop exercise was really just a roundtable discussion. We had it with all the staff here in HQ to go over the roles, because we are small staff. A lot of us have dual roles. We don't have the staffing like the city of Newport Beach or Costa Mesa, so a lot of us have dual roles. We need to learn what those dual roles are, and also just have that open discussion of what if this happened, what if that happened. And as you can see in the staff report, we came up with 25 things that we need to do to enhance our preparedness. Of those 25 items on that list, we've already completed half of them. So our goal is to complete all those by the end of this month. And then we'll continue training. And what we're going to also do is our next training is at the yard, which is our alternate EOC, because in case this building was red tag and we couldn't use this as our EOC, then we would go to the yard. And so we want to be sure we can still provide emergency services at the yard if this building is not functional. So that's just a brief update, and happy to answer any questions.
Have you ever thought about doing an exercise with the city of Costa Mesa?
Yeah, and that's on the liaison committee. I was going to have that discussion. Newport Beach had a very, I think it was a full-scale exercise with other cities, and our staff went to the EOC and actually watched how they operate, which was an eye-opening for our staff. And so it would be good to do the same thing with the city of Costa Mesa and Mesa Water and the school district, maybe do some kind of joint training. So we'll talk about that on Friday. Yeah.
On number 8, have you done that one? Have you obtained, you're not going to store plywood around, are you?
No, we're just going to have it stored. So in case, if window's broken, then we don't have to go scrambling to the Home Depot and get it. It's already there.
In my business, we deal with this a lot, okay? You might, rather than storing a bunch of plywood and taking room somewhere, you might talk to several disaster recovery companies. Servpro, I can get you a list of names and have them on call. Yeah. Where they'll come out and do that emergency work for you, probably cheaper than you can buy the plywood and store it.
Okay.
That may be an option for you to look at.
Sure.
Okay?
But Mike, during an emergency, they would have 1,700 calls.
Yeah, but if you have a contract with them, they're obligated to, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's,
Well, you might have to supplement it,
yeah.
your own staff.
Do they offer contracts for agencies?
oh yeah.
And was something to consider.
And have you taken care of number 10 yet? Just don't let Bob Wooten near wherever you're storing them.
No, we just obtained the cost right now, so haven't bottomed
Oh, I know where Orange County Sand District stores there.
Okay. Any other questions? I think this is important. I mean, you know, the big one may be coming in 6 months. You know, that's where Bob's going to give you. Oops. From a big earthquake. Is that an earthquake? I'm going to open this, before we go further, I'm going to open this to public comment. Jim, you had a request to speak on this, please.
Thank you again, President Schaefer and members of the board. My name again is Jim Mosier. First, I wanted to say last week I was at a meeting in Newport Beach of a committee they have called the Building and Fire Board of Appeal, which is a set of engineers who consider engineering standards in the city. And this board would be pleased to know that one of the engineers who sits on that board specifically out of the blue cited the Costa Mesa Sanitary District for its exemplary emergency preparedness and being proactive in having emergency generators for each of its pump stations. That said, when I saw this agenda item, I had a little concern about the tabletop exercise of the Emergency Operations Center being here when the actual operations are taking place miles away. We've heard there is an alternate center. The bigger concern I wanted to bring to you, which might be a small concern, but to me it's something I thought of too late after I went to your last board meeting. I arrived at that meeting slightly late and you were talking about the improvements to our yard. And I have, since I heard about the yard being expanded and the emergency equipment being consolidated in one location, I've had some concern about the thought that all the equipment, all the eggs are in one basket. And what I saw at the last board meeting was a presentation where we're actually trying to reinforce the yard, make it more secure with walls and gates. And I'm wondering if we could have considered a scenario in which, in some kind of disaster, those gates might become inoperable, so the district finds itself in the embarrassing situation of having all of its secured equipment locked in a secured location that the district cannot get its equipment out of. I'm sure in the case of something as minor as an electrical failure, there's a way to manually open the gates, but I can imagine in an earthquake they might get jammed and they can't be opened. I'm bringing this up because in a planning issue the city of Newport Beach had, a private developer was wanting to gate off a street that led to a memory care unit that was going to be built, and the fire department insisted that if they were going to put a gate there, it had to be what they called a crash gate. Crash gate meaning something that a fire engine is capable of just driving through even if the gate is stuck. So I'm wondering if the district is, in its emergency planning, considering that scenario and making sure that in any circumstance we can get those laudable generators out to where they need to go, especially with them all being at one location. Thank you.
Well, Jim, they're actually not all at one location. The most critical stations have permanent generators on site. So I don't know, probably of 20% of them, 25% of them, what we consider the most critical stations, probably the larger stations, and critical because of detention time or whatever, we deemed they are already located at those stations. So there's a limited number, not a limited number, the majority of them, though, still are in the yard and have to be deployed.
Yes.
The gate situation is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if we even...
Well, let me respond to that question. First off, we do have a generator at the yard, so if we do lose power, the generator will kick in, so that will if there's electrical issues, the gates will open with the generator. If the generator doesn't work and we lose power, as Mr. Mosher, we can always crank it open manually. So we can open them up manually.
You
yes.
can?
Yes.
Interesting about gates, I was watching the KTLA morning news this morning. They had a reporter up in Montecito, Summerlin area where the fires are burning, and they were talking about these, Oprah Winfrey lives there, and Ellen DeGeneres lives there, and who knows, and all these poor celebrities had to leave their gates open to their estates because otherwise the fire.
Oprah's got 50 acres there.
Yeah, and we're talking about $45, $50 million homes. So they apparently don't have crash gates, which makes sense if you're Oprah Winfrey. You don't want someone crashing through your gate, I guess. But that was interesting that in that scenario with us, you almost want to have our gates open if there's you know what I mean? If there's an emergency. So good points to consider, I think.
Have we ever tried to crank them open by hand?
Oh yeah, because sometimes, sometimes we have the gates just not working, and so we'd have to just open them up manually. Yeah.
Sounds better.
All right, let's move to item B6 then, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. So as you know, on the budget there's two items in the budget. One is to install solar panels on the rooftop here at HQ, and also do some repairs in certain areas on the rooftop. So we prepared bid specifications, and we're looking to have one contractor do it all at one. You have a prime contract, whether that's the solar vendor or the roof contractor as the prime, and then one of the other would be the sub. One thing we wanted to seek and deviated a little bit from the specs is to require the solar panels have battery capacity. So in other words, if a power outage occurred, then the batteries would kick in for the solar panels. We would continue to provide power here. They'll give us time to bring the generator over here and hook it up, and we still be running on full power. Unfortunately, those batteries are still expensive, and is what drove the prices up of these two bids. And so staff is making a decision and recommending to the board that the board adopts the resolution rejecting both bids, and then directing staff to go out to rebid the project, but we'll rebid it separately. We're going to do the roof repairs on a separate bid proposal, and we'll do the solar panels on a separate bid proposal without the battery backups. So we can stay within budget of $180,000 for the solars and $81,000 for the roof repairs.
So you would do the roof first, right?
Yes.
Arlene had a question.
Yeah, I had a question. You talked about roof repairs.
Yes.
I was wondering, because once you put the solar on,
Yeah, we'll do the roof repairs first, then the solars.
Okay,
Yes.
so we do that.
Yes.
Okay. And how much did you say on the roof repair?
81,000 we budgeted.
81,000.
Okay. I'm interested in maybe further exploring, why we decided to have the batteries in the first place, and now the engineering process has gone awry, and we can just say, okay, we decided we're going to stick to the budget rather than the thinking that got us to the point where we were wanting to contract for the battery backups. Without more explanation, I don't know why we would just say, okay, the budget rules and the battery backups, we don't need them anymore. There was a reason why we had them.
Yes, it ties into the last item, emergency preparedness. We wanted to, so if we had, in other words, if we have a power outage in this building, we have to bring a generator over. We don't have any permanent generators. That takes time.
Yeah.
And so the idea with the batteries will give us some leeway, some downtime, like 2.5 hours. I was hoping to get 2.5 hours, which would give us plenty of time for the generator. So basically, we wouldn't skip a beat. We wouldn't miss anything if there was a power outage. It'd be business as normal.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's safety, and I think we ought to consider or talk about changing the budget or the specs. You're considering changing the specifications. I think we ought to think through whether we really do need those, and if we do, We figure out some way to some way to continue having them in the specifications.
Well, they're very expensive right now because a lot of people aren't thinking like that. They're not thinking about using backup batteries for the solar. So our reasoning was, let's go and put the solars in now.
Yeah.
Maybe the backup batteries, the price will come down in a couple of years. We could always phase those in later. We can install those at a later time, and hopefully the price will come down. That was
I would be in favor of continuing to support changing the budget, or at least talking about it further. Wendy will be gone in a month or so.
Actually, Mrs. Davis would like to make a comment. So.
Well, and one of the things we determined was that if there's a power outage during the day, the solar will continue to power us. So you're talking about using battery backup for at night.
Yeah.
Well, our computer has its own battery backup, so that will keep us going on our computers for a while overnight. So that's a concern we have is with having our servers and stuff up to run our websites and things like that. But we have some battery backup for that already. So we're talking about running the generators strictly at night, and the only other concern is just the alarm for the building. And again, if we're all here during the day, the solar's working and powering us. It's strictly battery backup for night running, which would give us plenty of time to get a generator here and keep it going. So the cost benefit now, as the general manager said, is that it's so pricey that it's going to come down, and we'll be able to do it more efficiently.
So if the power goes out in the middle of the night, who gets notified? You? And you dispatch one of the guys at the generator here? Yes. And I think what Wendy's saying makes a lot of sense in terms of the major component is the computer system, and how long does their backup last?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
And why didn't you have the answer ready?
I don't know off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
That's
but
fine.
I can get that and give it to the general manager to provide you. I think it's a few hours,
Okay.
which is enough time to get a generator. I want to say it's
Okay, I'm not.
okay. I'll find out though.
Don't we need that power for the emergency operations center, though?
Yeah, we do. So we bring a generator in to power that up. So that's always been our plan when we came into this building. We're going to use a mobile generator to connect here and power us up for the EOC in the building. Yes.
Well, I think before we make the final decision, we need that information, because if there's a little 5-minute backup, which oftentimes instrumentation systems have, I forget the name, but and it is what failed at the Irvine pump station, and they're historically unreliable. If it's the device that I'm thinking of, and I can't tell you the name.
What was the cost of the battery backup system for the batteries? Do you remember?
I don't know off the top of my head. It was significant, though. I mean, look at the Precision Electronic. I mean, it's almost $500,000. So that's a lot more than we expected.
These two didn't include batteries, though.
Yeah, they did. They
did?
Yeah, these bids included battery backup in it. That's why
There's such a big difference. I mean,
because Baker Electric, they were trying to stay within our budget, and so when they proposed solar panels, it wasn't for the entire rooftop, and it wouldn't be able to provide us solar panels for the entire building.
So
where Precision Electric did. So their proposal was to put solar panels all across the rooftop and provide us the power for the entire building, where Baker Electric didn't. They were just trying to stay within our budget. It wouldn't have achieved our objective with their bids.
Okay. I agree with Bob, though. I think we still need to keep that battery thing there, or whether we do it later or do it now. If we have the cost now, we can monitor what it goes down to. I think it's still worth part of the process.
My feeling is that, I think the batteries, we definitely look to bring that back, but we want to bring the cost down of this building. I mean, our electricity cost is how much a month?
A lot.
Yeah, so we want to get the solar in there, and that's what we told the public that during the State of the District address, that we were going to do this, and so my recommendation is to proceed with the solar panels and come back later with the backup power.
Well, I move approval move approval of the motion. Yeah, but I think we need to continue the discussion.
Sure, absolutely.
We're okay making, I mean, this is a study session, but because this was posted as an action item, we're okay. Right, John? All right. Before we go to that, before I call for the question, is there anyone from the public wishing to speaking? I didn't get a card, so I assume not. So you move to adopt the resolution rejecting the bids, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Second.
Second by Art. Discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
So how long do you think we'll have bids, or have you already started that process?
I've got the bids out right now for the roof repairs. Right now, we're working on getting the paperwork into the Edison so they can grandfather it in the old rates before the PUC adopted some new rates for solars. We want to get that paperwork in this month.
But you've got the roof repairs.
They're out the bid right now.
That's separate from the
Yes,
solar.
correct.
If it ever rains again, it's probably a good idea that we get that going, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Thank you, Scott. All right, item 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to turn this over to Nabila Guzman.
Nabila, morning.
Good morning, President Schaefer, members of the board. Per our agreement, the district completes a yearly performance review of CRNR.
A little closer to there. Thank you.
Sorry about that. The evaluation term for this review was July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2017. The performance was evaluated on the following grading scale: excellent, satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and not applicable. Staff reviewed CRNR's performance in 6 areas and made the following findings. Under cost price control, the district's goal is to maintain a net-to-hauler rates that do not exceed 10% of the county average. The per-unit net-to-hauler payment for this review period increased to $17.94 from last year, due to per-ton processing charge increase for organics that became effective in September 2016. CRNR's increased net-to-hauler calculation is 27 cents below the county average of $18.21. Our contract states net-to-hauler rates be calculated less the AD project cost and should exclude the organics recycling program charges. But the cost of the organics program has been included in the per-unit calculation in this year and in the years past. So the district is providing an extra service, and our rate is still below the county average. For Category 2, schedule control, the district staff tracks hauler completes using the district's mobile and web application, where residents can enter information about a missed pickup. Additionally, staff also began logging hauler complaints in April 2017 that come in through email or phone calls after noticing that CRNR's monthly complaint log was not reflecting the amount of requests staff was receiving for courtesy pickups. There were a total of 39 missed curbside pickups complaints received through GovOutreach for the review period, and staff logged an additional 22 separate complaints received via emails and phone calls since April 2017. But staff believes the actual number to be much higher. In comparison, CRNR only reported a total of 26 missed pickups for the entire year. While staff is concerned about the increase in the number of missed collections, it is still less than 1% of the 22,518 units CRNR collects every week. Category 3, contract administration. CRNR promptly sends district staff month-end reports for processing, but there has been an ongoing issue with invoices being incorrect. Late tickets are checked against invoices for accuracy, and they always check out, but invoice totals have been consistently off by a few cents to several dollars. Category 4, responsiveness to government. Overall, CRNR is responsive to district requests and calls. In regards to public outreach, CRNR provided special events trash boxes for community events such as the Concerts in the Park series, Costa Mesa Community Run, the Lions Club Fish Fry. Additionally, CRNR provided a bale of aluminum cans for the annual Count the Cans contest at the Costa Mesa Community Run. Improvements can be made in regards to the distribution of printed materials. District staff provided CRNR feedback regarding a draft brochure in June 2016, and CRNR did not provide the district with the finalized brochure during fiscal year 16-17. Thus, communication regarding public outreach should increase to ensure that district staff is aware of all distributed materials and efforts by CRNR. Additionally, the district received numerous complaints about missed Christmas tree pickups in the weeks following Christmas and New Year's Day, because the holidays fell on a Sunday. Many residents assumed trash collection would be delayed by one day because government offices were closed on Monday. The district also mistakenly identified Christmas Day as a trash-delayed holiday on the district's website, which added to the confusion. The extent of missed pickups attracted media attention and negative feedback on social media. CRNR sustainability specialist at that time was unresponsive to several attempts from district staff to make contact and obtain updates regarding the Christmas tree collection issues. Category 5, contract compliance with operational requirements. The master manifest substantiates a 59.44% diversion rate for the audit period. Therefore, CRNR has met the required 50% diversion rate as requested in the agreement. And lastly, key personnel. In February 2017, CRNR agreed to replace a representative to CMSD after the district made such request. The new representative, Shelley, is very cooperative in response to CMSD's inquiries in a timely manner. In addition to my review, Mike Valley provided a partial compliance review of 26 specified items per agreement requirements. His review found that CRNR exhibited a perfect level of compliance, passing 26 of the 26 areas of review. Overall, the district finds CRNR to be doing a good job, and they received satisfactory in all 6 performance categories. It should be noted that the lack of excellence in this performance review is not a reflection of CMSD being dissatisfied with CRNR service. Rather, in the performance review, we identified excellent as contractor exceeded the requirements and satisfactory as contractor met the requirements. I found CRNR to be meeting all the contract requirements, which is why I rated as satisfactory in most areas and listed examples in each section. Reading through the previous 5 performance reviews, I noticed that there were some years where excellence were not given out, such as in fiscal year 15-16 and 14-15. In reviews with excellent ratings, there was no explanation as to why or any examples to go along with the rating, so I did not have a basis to go by. This concludes my report, and I am happy to answer any questions the board may have.
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned, kind of going back to what Director Perry said about the Christmas tree program.
Yes.
You said that we had significant complaints last year because Christmas was on a Sunday.
Yes.
In the NBC report, it says there were no complaints regarding Christmas tree collections.
And that goes back to what CRNR reports to us in the monthly complaint. If they're not on the monthly complaint, which is what Mike Valley reviewed, then there's no way of him knowing.
Okay.
But there were
Is
any
that right, Mike?
Correct. I look at their internal complaint logs and know what they all are and follow up, and there were no
Okay.
street complaints.
Okay. Explains it. Other questions? Anybody else?
Is Christmas on Monday this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Christmas is on Monday. It will be delayed, and Gina already posted it on our website.
Right.
That's why I think we need another news article of some sort to go out. You know what I mean? Because they don't come to the website as much as they should.
It is a newsletter.
Yeah, I know, but you know
If we
how
could get
people are.
a press release, Luke's been pretty good, or the
Yeah.
Daily Pilot especially has been pretty good. So, and I think the city, you know, one area you could reach out to is Dane Bora.
Yeah.
When he does his Costa Mesa Minute.
Costa Mesa Minute.
A lot of people look at that thing, and I think that would help.
Absolutely.
And he does that at all the time. And he does it at the.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah. That'd be really good.
Okay.
He
Wendy?
could.
I think you're right about the Daily Pilot would probably be more inclined to report it since CRNR is now servicing Newport Beach as well. So this whole area will be all on the same schedule.
Well, Newport Beach should do their own thing. We don't care about that.
But the Daily Pilot, Daily Pilot has more stuff about Newport than you do of Costa
It's
Mesa.
my sinus medication, so
The contract is probably exactly the same.
I'm sure it is. Apples to apples, right? Okay, any other questions? Anyone from the public wishing to speak?
Hello, sorry, excuse my voice. I've got a cold. But I just wanted to clarify the dates for Christmas tree collection this year. The district has requested the 27th of December through the 12th of January, and we're all on the same page about that. We've already got the banners up on the trucks, like we mentioned earlier. And I believe Gina had added those dates to the newsletter as well. So those are all going to be good to go. And then Christmas Day and New Year's Day are both Mondays, and there will not be trash collection on those days. Sorry, excuse me. Then just to clarify one of the points about the outreach from last year regarding the residential guides, they actually were sent out. I think there was just miscommunication between the previous coordinator. I think he just didn't let you guys know. But they were actually mailed to all residents in September of 2016. So everyone did receive a a residential guide that looks like this at Costa Mesa, and then it has all, information about the AD and recycling and everything. So all residents did receive that last year, and then we're planning to send a residential guide out again in 2018. So we'll be within our contract requirements of printed material every 2 years. So that's it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monday they're not going to pick up.
Right.
Now, are they going to pick up the same people that usually get their trash picked up on Tuesday, or is it backed up one day for everybody?
It'll be delayed one day.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead of me putting it out on Wednesday night, I'll put it out on Thursday.
You're right, right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to
Did you say the collection dates again, December 27th?
Oh, for Christmas tree, yeah, 27th of December through the 12th of January. Yeah, for the Christmas trees. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm just thinking now, that Snoopy house opens on Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe we had a flyer or something that people could come by just to pick up about the Christmas tree. Just a thought. Just a thought. I don't know if we want to do that or not, but there's a lot of people that go there to say this is Christmas tree pickup. Just as an extra thing if we could. Thanks.
I want to compliment CR&R on their float in the Temecula Christmas Parade a week ago Friday. I was drugged all the way down to Temecula because my granddaughter was supposed to be cheering on the parade route, and the truck they were on went by so fast I couldn't even get a picture. But your truck looked wonderful.
Was it the mini truck or a full-size one?
It's a pretty good-sized truck.
It was a regular truck. Sometimes we have a little mini parade truck. It's really cute.
Oh, this was a big truck
This was a
with
regular
lights on it and everything.
Oh, nice.
And CR&R trash boxes all over downtown Temecula. So congratulations. It was very nice.
My grandkids went to that too, so.
I get drugged to it. Okay, item 8, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nabila Guzman will give you this report as well.
Billy, you're on again.
Yes. President Schaefer, members of the board, I will also be presenting the report on the community-wide diversion. Per direction from the board at last month's study session meeting, district staff reached out to the city of Costa Mesa to further understand where we stand as a community in terms of achieving the statewide 75% recycling goal. Using data provided by the city of Costa Mesa, which includes CMSD tonnage, staff has calculated the overall diversion at approximately 70%. The legislature and Governor Brown set an ambitious goal of 75% recycling, composting, and source reduction of solid waste by 2020, calling for the state and CalRecycle to take a statewide approach to decreasing California's reliance on landfills. It is important to note that the statewide goal is a recycling goal, not a diversion goal or a mandate. While the district provides solid waste services to all single-family and some multifamily homes, the city of Costa Mesa's non-exclusive waste hauling franchise allows 8-tiered franchise haulers to provide services to multifamily, commercial, and industrial accounts, and holds them to an overall 50% diversion standard. The state stopped calculating city diversion rates in 2006 and switched to a per capita measurement basis of disposal reduction in 2007. The purpose of the per capita disposal measurement system is to make the process of goal measurement simpler and more accurate. This measurement allows for population growth and uses 2 factors: a jurisdiction's population and its disposal as reported by disposal facilities, so it calculates pounds of waste per person per day. Table 1 in the report shows community-wide diversion rates from 2000 to 2006 and the approximate per capita measurement from 2007 to 2016. The city of Costa Mesa compiles our data on a calendar year basis, which mirrors state reporting requirements. Table 2, 3, and 4 reflect the data of the 3 most recent calendar years. The format for the calendar year 2016 changed to include more information that the city is required to track. So on the tables under source, residential franchise refers to CMSD, city franchise being the multifamily, commercial, and industrial accounts, and then self-haul state facilities is landscapers, roofers, schools, hospital, and fairgrounds. The city of Costa Mesa has no control under its franchise for self-haulers and does not collect diversion data from private recyclers operating in the city. Currently, the city is in the process of introducing an ordinance to regulate and allow self-haulers like landscapers and roofers to legally haul and report to the city how much they are disposing of. In conclusion, both the district and the city of Costa Mesa are on track to reach the 75% statewide recycling goal by 2020. I am happy to answer any questions the board may have, or Mike Valier, since he's a lot more familiar with both our tonnage data, I'm sure he can jump in and answer any questions.
Good report.
I got a question. With the city changing it to 65% for, will that increase it from 70 to 75 or 70 to, what do you think? Mike Barry?
Yeah, good question.
Mike Ballier. The city's change is prompted by the new green building code. The old code said we would track projects of $10,000 or more. That has gone away. There's no dollar limit that a city can impose on which projects it will track or not track.
Put it down to 0 then, Mike?
Any project that falls under the green building code, we have to track regardless of the value. And it's a good move because we had a lot of projects that would break itself up into $9,999 amounts, so they weren't looked at. The other change was the 50% diversion rate was raised to 65% for all Cal Green projects. So the city is mirroring that in the code. One of the challenges is contractor self-haul has really been a square peg in a round hole. This would be roofing companies, land clearers, people that haul the waste that they generate from their primary business activity. The option in Costa Mesa was become a franchised hauler, or you can't haul in the city. And so the latest code revision is trying to allow those contractor self-haulers to operate and report specifically on a project-by-project basis, keep them out of the franchise. We've also had a lot of challenges with the B tier. The city has an A tier, which is recurring service haulers. They can do everything. CRNR is an A tier hauler. Then we had a B tier. That was originally supposed to be temporary service haulers, but they had to take their material to a transfer facility, recycling facility. They couldn't go directly to the landfill. Well, the first year in, we had 2 haulers that completely ignored that. So it was changed. Right now, the B tier is for affixed container haulers only, most of which are contractor self-haul types. So we're getting rid of the B tier, having contractor self-haul. So that's that issue. As far as the 75% recycling goal, again, it's recycling, not diversion. So a lot of things that count now won't count. As you know, alternative daily cover with green waste is being phased out in 2020. There's also a beneficial use of material for ground cover and all that wouldn't count as recycling. Any thermochemical conversion to energy, that would be transformation facilities, pyrolysis, syngas, things of that nature, do not count as recycling. So the state's picking winners and losers. This will count as recycling, this won't. So they're trying to direct behavior to recycling and composting and source reduction. Those are the only things that will count. How that will transition from a goal to a mandate, because we have a 50% diversion mandate. How they will measure it changes all the time, and I'm sorry for going on and on. I'll try to give you a brief Reader's Digest. When AB 939 was passed, it was a diversion-based measurement. Everybody had to go out and count all their recycling, all their source reduction, all their landfilling, and present that number to the state, and that was your diversion rate. There were cities like Hawthorne, for example, that had a big demolition project. So they had 70,000 tons of concrete diversion, so they had a 73% diversion rate. Here we go, and the state's like, no. We want to keep waste that's going to the landfill now for coming back. So I think it was AB 2208 or 2294, where they said, look, this construction inert material, we're not going to count it anymore, and we're going to switch to a disposal-based system. So whatever you took to the landfill, we're going to, get rid of all this construction stuff. And then everybody argued and said, well, we have construction waste going to landfill. So the state said, well, we'll even it out. You can get credit for diversion that matches what went in the landfill. That's what I did for Costa Mesa in 2006 when we changed their base year. But we had a lot of people that were saying, well, wooden pallets, they weigh 50.5 pounds each. And every time you reuse that pallet, that counts as recycling. So when a lot of cities changed their base year, they had all these figures. The state said, look, we're tired of everybody changing their base year. We're going to go to this per capita system now, where we'll kind of take your base year information, but we'll take other reporting factors in, and we'll develop this per capita disposal figure for your business community and your residential community. That will represent 50% diversion compliance. If you're below that per capita disposal amount, you've met the diversion requirement. But now the state's focusing on programs. How are you implementing all the programs that you said you were going to do? We're going to focus on that more than this diversion rate side. And then behind that, the state introduced AB 341, mandatory commercial recycling, new programs, AB 1826, mandatory organics recycling, new programs. Now they're looking at SB 1383, food waste donation. That needs to be 20% of your organics recycling. So they're heaping a lot of programs on the city, and that's what they're focusing on. So that's my best synopsis of what's going on. A lot of unfunded mandates coming down, so we're trying to keep up.
Mike, you're talking about the A tier and the B tier.
Mm-hmm.
What about Steve the junk man? Where does he fall into?
The guys that have high sides or panel trucks, they're kind of under the radar, and they fall into a category nobody's really tracking. The same thing with landscapers. Again, at this point in time, there's not going to be a permit for them one way or another, but I think with AB 1826, that's going to have to come down the line.
You're talking about a hauler permit, not a business.
Well, again, what we're introducing with the self-haul permit is important. It's something separate from a hauler permit. So again, there would be maybe a landscaper permit, where all we really need is the information on where's it going, where are you recycling it, how much is showing up at the landfill, and again, right now we have approximately 23% of the landfill tonnage for the city of Costa Mesa is by somebody other than a franchised hauler. So it's a big pot, especially 75%. If 23% you don't control and it's showing up at the landfill and you have no idea what diversion goes with that, it could be challenging.
When you say landscaping, do you include the gardeners?
Yeah. So they're all in a non-tracked category at this point. Again, we do get information from Terra Verde and other facilities, so we kind of capture it, but they don't report directly to the city. It's through a third party that we get information.
There's got to be a significant amount of stuff. I mean, nobody in Costa Mesa does their own gardening except me. Don't you think that's a significant amount of stuff that needs to be reported that could kind of go back to what Art's been?
But most gardeners put it into their organic cans that, like they come in my neighborhood and they come to me and put it in my organic, so I look good.
Mine's full. They won't put it in mine. But you see them bundling it up in burlap and
Burlap.
throw it in the back of their truck? Or the guy that does the tree guys, they throw it in the back of their panel truck and they're going wherever they're going. We're not getting credit for that, are we?
Well, again, under the current methodology, if it's not showing up at the landfill, we're okay. Where it gets dicey is AB 1826 is now telling multifamily units that, hey, you have to recycle your green waste, so it can no longer go in a trash can. So where is it going, and how do we confirm that that's happening? So again, they're adding requirements.
Are most of these guys taking it and selling it to compost or other people?
I don't know that they're selling it. The traditional way is whoever they're getting their mulch and their soil products from, they take the material to them, and whether it's a charge, which typically would be a charge, but that's usually cheaper and quicker than them doing the extra trip to the landfill. Now, we still have landscaper material showing up at the landfill, but it's not a significant portion of what's going.
Now, does the city give credit to the tree people that are, they're cutting trees down, or not cutting the trees, but,
Trimmings and all that?
all the trimming is going along around the city?
Well, again, at this point, they are in a category that is not permitted but not excluded. It's existing. So again, if we have the need to get that tonnage to report to the state, then a permit for that activity, a report only perhaps, would be developed. But at this point, the city has cut landfill disposal way down. The target now, because of new legislation, is the Green Building Code and organics recycling. So again, that may lead to, okay, we've got to get information from the landscapers, but again, it's an unfunded mandate. So how do we go and make sure all those pickup trucks driving through the city are reporting to us? Do we want to get punitive and put charges on those folks? Then everybody's going to be upset because their landscaping costs are going to go up. It's like squeezing a balloon.
Well, the city's the main, they have to do the reporting, and so what they'll do is, or do you anticipate that they'll meet the 75% criteria in 2020? They'll just change their contracts with the franchise haulers? And
well, again, if you looked at the table, we had about 135,000 tons going to the landfill, I think, when we were at a 56% diversion rate. We're down right at 100,000 tons. So we're pretty close to 70 by all measurements, although there's not an official state number for that. Again, the 75% recycling figure is a goal, and it doesn't include some things that we include. So again, some direction from the state is needed on what they're going to require. Is it going to change from a goal? Again, we want to progress, and with the January 1, 2019 date, when virtually 95% of the businesses in the city are going to have to recycle organic waste, that's when the threshold drops to 4 cubic yards of trash per week or more, has to have a program. What I'm seeing from the state rulemaking workshops is that they're probably going to require some type of punitive action by local government against people that don't have programs in place. That's going to take a significant amount of material that's currently disposed and put it into recycling, but that's quite a challenge, because it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And the city, well, the residential trash comprises about 17% of what the city reports now, so we're a very small portion of their reporting. It'll be interesting to see.
Again, it's driven by the state. The city has to be the administer and the monitor of certain programs, mandatory commercial recycling, mandatory organics recycling, and the city's doing a good job with a carrot approach, and with the stick of your permit as a hauler in order to operate. That's reviewed every year. Here's the standard. So we're keeping on it, but we're trying to keep the city competitive, to have multiple choices, get to, control pricing a little bit that way rather than setting and being prescriptive. So I think it's a nice balance, and really, if you look at that table, the city has been in compliance with all the state mandates since they started measuring them back in 1995, the 25% diversion rate. So they've always met or exceeded. So I'm confident we'll be able to jump through whatever hoop the state throws at us.
The governor, if he ever goes to changes it.
I just have one quick question. Is the sludge that comes out of Orange County Sanitation, is that an organic?
That's not something that I count or track as far as solid waste because of pathogens and things of that. That's your area of expertise more than mine.
I'm just curious.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Other questions? We're going to now adjourn to a closed session. Conference with legal counsel on existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9D1, CMSD versus Mesa Water. So before we adjourn, we're going to take about a minute and a half break. Okay, I'm going to reconvene the study session of December 12th. What year is it? And our closed session item, conference with legal counsel on existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9D1, Costa Mesa Sanitary versus Mesa Water. There's no reportable action at this time. And with that, I will open to oral communications and director comments. Anybody have any comments?
Happy holidays.
See you tonight.
Yeah.
That's right. See you tonight. So, with that, we are adjourned.